Today's video, I want to delve into my 8 pearls for being an effective landlord. Some tricks, some tips might help. Let's get into it. Being a landlord can have amazing perks and upside potential. It also can be very stressful and frankly heartbreaking if you do not know what you are doing. Remember, when you manage property and things go wrong, everyone is calling you. Everyone is calling you. When things go right, no one is calling you. There's no thank yous. It's a thankless job. But I love it. It's part of my job, one of my job responsibilities. I've done it a long time. I know plenty of people that have tried to transition from being a great stock picker, for example, and put their, head in the real estate sector and failed miserably. Why? Either, they wanted to be too hands-on with the tenants and didn't have the right mindset, or they couldn't do it, so, they put everything on the property management company and didn't want anything to do with it. And the company ended up stealing a tremendous amount of money from them. So, I found these folks, they were too hands-on or they threw it off on the property management company. So what happens? They cash out and go back to stock picking. So, I'm sticking with stocks, Tim. I hate dealing with tenants or those management folks. And I've heard that a lot. So in today's video, I want to give you some pearls on what to do to make the landlord process seamless and more enjoyable. It's not that arduous. So my first pearl, number 1, have a mentor. No matter if you have 1 unit or 500 doors, always have a mentor to share ideas and guidance. A little bit of knowledge is a dangerous thing. Don't think you know everything. Don't think you know everything, because you don't. It is important to have mentors no matter what stage of your career. For example, we are looking to invest in Arizona. We have no property in Arizona. I'm going to Arizona this weekend to look at real estate and meet with investors. I set up some meetings. I don't know everything. I've been researching for the last 2 months, but I need help. I called a bunch of people. Some didn't even return my calls back this week. Some real estate people that I called of other companies I used to work with. I don't get it, whatever. It only takes one guy or gal, and one guy set up everything for me in Arizona, and I'm going to remember that when we buy, if we buy, and I'm going to remember that. So he's great, and I look forward to meeting him. Pearl number 2, even if you're a mom and pop real estate investor, it's a good idea to interact with your tenants and manage your rental property as if you were a professional management company, okay? Be professional. Treat your rental property like a business. I can't emphasize that enough. I know some people that, let's say, have 8 doors or 16, like, yeah, whatever. Treat it like a business. Communication with a tenant should be clear, cordial, and professional. Don't, and I tell you, don't, I know people that have done this, don't exchange social media accounts. Don't get into a relationship with your tenants. Yes, I have seen this happen, and 9 out of 10 times it created a nightmare. So the tenant needs to know that the person managing the property, should be taken seriously, and they can't get one up over on you. Be professional with your tenants. I've seen some really sticky situations, and I've seen one individual lose 3 properties because of it. I don't want to get into that, but be professional. Number 3, third pearl, follow the laws. Follow the laws. In order to conduct good business, you need to comply with federal, state, and local laws. Know the laws in the state where you have multi-units properties. It's important to make sure your business follows all necessary laws in order to maintain a positive reputation and avoid potential legal problems. Real estate and rental investments often come with regulations, so be sure to take the time to conduct research and understand all federal and state specific laws before, digging in. So I have to understand multi-states, countries, and it helps me learn more and working with local property management companies outside the United States as well. So remember, as a landlord, you are expected and required to comply with fair housing laws. Unfortunately, and I come across more than a few. Not all landlords know the rules before renting a property. It's imperative you understand your state's tenant and landlord laws and follow the rules to keep yourself out of lawsuits. There's one thing, fortunately, the American Apartment Owners Association offers a map you can click on to read about the laws in your state. It's not that hard to find and research. Have attorney if you don't want to dig that deep. Have attorney in that state to help you. Fourth pearl, well-written lease. I can't emphasize this one enough. Always put in writing. Some landlords don't have leases and even forget to renew leases. It's crazy to me. Crazy. Your lease agreement is everything as a landlord. It is a binding contract that explains what the landlord and tenants can and cannot do, and states the process for what happens, if the lease is broken. Throwing a half-page lease together may cut it for the time being, but eventually something that was not properly addressed in the lease, will become a problem. So stay on top of this. I know I've seen more people do the lease, but I can't emphasize this enough. Then they don't renew it. So stay on top of this. It's imperative. Have a lease agreement in place. And when that year is up, renew those lease, add line items, so stay on top of that. I can't emphasize that enough. Fifth pearl, use property management software. In my opinion, even if you only have one unit, have software. I started out using Excel and just did it that way and did my rent rolls, but I got into property management software early. As I said earlier, treat this like a business. It will motivate you, even if you have one unit, to get more properties. And it's a one-stop shop, these property management softwares. They're great. You can do everything on them, and it's just going to help you expand your mind. So there are dozens of property management programs that allow landlords to manage the rental property virtually. Beyond collecting rents online, the programs can help you advertise the property for rent, collect late fees, deposit amounts, manage repair requests, and you can even communicate with your tenants. So I think the software is great. I just wanted to learn it. Now that we have more properties and multi-state stuff, I just put everything on there. So sixth pearl, I can't emphasize this enough, and I don't see enough of this. Reward good tenants. Keep good tenants with incentives. Good tenants don't come along every day. So when you find a great tenant, you want to keep them. One way to motivate the tenant to stay, even if you are increasing the rent, is by offering them an incentive to renew. Each year upon lease renewal, offer to replace or upgrade one thing in the property to a certain value. Maybe put in a new dishwasher. I just took a dishwasher out of my primary residence that was only a year old, and I called them and said, hey, I'm going to give you a new dishwasher. And I put it into this unit. Replace the flooring, paint it, add a backsplash to the kitchen or something. They don't even have to be expensive upgrades. A little, trust me, can go a long way. I personally do more of this. I give a gift card at the end of the year if my tenants pay every month on time for 12 months. I give a gift cards, whatever, I don't, $100 gift cards, and I'm telling you, it pays off in dividends. Seventh pearl, although you will have property insurance, it's a good idea to require the tenant to have their own renter's insurance. This protects their belongings and provides additional liability protection to you as the landlord, especially if the property has pets. We, ladies and gentlemen, we live in a lawsuit-laden land, so it's important to arm yourself with knowledge and encourage your renters to do the same. By requiring renters insurance, you help avoid litigation if the renter's belongings are damaged. In addition, renters insurance is generally, it's low cost. It's low cost, so it's a small financial burden most tenants can easily and willingly take on. Some of our units, we don't have it, but it's something that you should look into. Eighth pearl, require a credit and background check. Don't make the mistake of, a potential, tenant pulling out a big wad of cash and saying, I'm going to pay 3 months plus the deposit. I had that happen to me, and tries to avoid the credit check. So a tenant gave me 4 months, and I made that mistake in a big deposit, and I saw that wad of cash, and that tenant turned out to be the tenant from hell. I'll never make that mistake again. Credit checks are among the best way to learn if an applicant is financially responsible or not. When reviewing your prospective tenant's credit and background reports, look out for these red flags. Notable debt, undue payments, bankruptcy filings, prior, eviction, history. That's huge. A solid financial and, background history is, very important, that the tenant let you know that the tenant, most likely will pay the rent on time, is free of relevant criminal history, and, will treat the property with respect, like it's their own. Treat it better than their own. So that's key. You have to do that. I do it on everyone, no matter what sob story I hear. So, becoming, ladies and gentlemen, an effective landlord and property manager takes time. And, as your portfolio grows, so will, your experience. I have a long way to go. I mean, I'm not done yet. I got another 20 plus years. I'm just getting going. And I'm always, I'm talking to someone that I've learned a lot from that has 4 doors, and I'm talking to someone that has over 700 doors. And it's amazing. And I can't emphasize this enough with tenants. One thing, I belong on a couple remediation boards, and I went to a remediation meeting, and we had a dispute. And I'm representing the landlord, but I have to be neutral. And this particular landlord came back for a second remediation meeting because he's been failing these tenants, in my opinion, but I have to be neutral. And he's got almost a trifecta. The tenants are paying on time every month, right? They're on time, they're loyal, they've been in this development for 10 plus years, okay? On time, loyal, but the units aren't being maintained by him. And they're terrible. There's water leakage in this thing. And I'm trying to put some sense into this guy and say, hey, you got loyal tenants. They pay every time a month. Have you ever taken each tenant out for coffee to talk to them? Put them in a hotel and then rehab the unit and do the same thing for the next tenant. Anyway, long story short, I give him my number because I feel bad. This is not hitting him. And he calls me, goes, Tim, what's that eviction number you have, that company you use in LA? I want to evict these people. And just doesn't see the forest through the trees, doesn't realize that he's got whales in each of those 8 units that are paying. They just want clean units that are livable. So it's amazing. Some people just shouldn't be in the business. So those are my 8 pearls. It's good, just top line review of things you can do to be a landlord. It's important. It's not easy, but it's not rocket science either. But some people just don't have the mindset for it. Take care. Happy St. Patty's Day. No green today. Take care.